Did you know that the book The Entity by Frank D. Felitta is actually based on a real case? Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today we are discussing the true crime case of Doris Bither. This true crime case, this paranormal phenomena case, is what inspired the movie and the book called The Entity. Now, the book, it was written by Frank De Felitta, and then there was a film made in 1982 of the same name. Well, so basically, the entity haunting, that's why it's called The Entity, is a paranormal investigation that happened in 1974. And this is all about paranormal phenomena that occurred in Culver City, California. And this was all experienced by a woman named Doris Bither. So, in 1974, Doris contacted a parapsychologist named Barry Taff and spoke about alarming phenomena that was happening and that she was experiencing. Well, Barry was working in a now defunct parapsychology lab run by a woman named Thelma Moss. Now, with the assistance of a woman named Carrie Gaynor, he conducted a preliminary interview of the paranormal claims that Doris was talking about. And in this interview, it revealed that Doris had a history of physical abuse, substance abuse, and a very traumatic childhood. Well, they also found that her and her 4 children were living illegally in a condemned house that was in ruins. Doris also claimed that she was attacked and possibly raped by one or several invisible entities. There were more benign manifestations that Doris encountered, and some were luminous human shapes and some that were transparent, and even some that were poltergeist type events. Doris did die in 1999, if you were curious at all. Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor went to the house in Culver City for the first time on the 22nd of August in 1974. They visited this house over a 10-week period. So the investigation itself didn't look into the spectral rape allegations, but only about the alleged violence that happened before they became involved. Barry didn't believe that any of these things occurred. He didn't believe it at all. And during the visits, investigators noticed what Barry called poltergeist activity, so basically after their investigation kind of ended, police were investigating what was happening as well. So it's a whole bunch of nuttiness. They basically, during these visits, the investigators noticed what Barry was saying and noticed the things that he was calling paranormal activity, poltergeist activity, objects falling by themselves, bad odors, strange lights, cold zones, stuff like that. Investigators were noticing these types of things, and these occurrences decreased over the course of a 10-week span, which is the 10 weeks that they were there. So they were joined by Doris in some of these visits, and in which she said she could talk to the dead, and she could talk to a large number of people who are related to the lab that Carrie and Barry are from. I'm sorry if that doesn't scream cuckoo bananas. I don't know what does in your book, because if she apparently can talk to people that you work with while you're inside of her house, seriously, there's an issue there. There is a major malfunction that needs to be taken care of, you know what I mean? So, anywho, and when she said that she could talk to a number of people at the lab, she also said that she could talk to Barry or Carrie in one way, but that Barry and Carrie are the only ones who could give insight on all of these unusual occurrences. There were photographs taken. The images were taken on an instant film Polaroid, an SX-70 35 millimeter camera, and they also used an infrared camera. But accidents happen with film, and they were overexposed, and this made all of the film basically virtually unusable. So when they did analyze the film, there was kind of like a thin object close to the camera, or basically it was accidental manipulation of exposure. So with all the evidence that Barry had in his investigation and Bither's story, basically he concluded that it was paranormal phenomena that must have taken place and that the case was a haunting. 4 decades later, so that would bring us to 2014, sorry. So 2014, this is when the case was reviewed, and it was concluded that the case involved a distressed family that also involved poor investigative work, and it was confirmation bias. So that, my friends, is the weird case of the entity. It's super short and super, like, I thought it was just really weird because it's one of those, like, odd ones that you don't really, like, think about, you know what I mean? Like, we've seen, hopefully most people have seen the movie The Entity. It's really weird. But yeah, this is it. Basically, this is it. Like, nothing was ever corroborated. Nothing was fully confirmed whether or not it happened to Doris or her kids in the house. Like, and all the evidence that we have from Barry and Carrie is all basically destroyed because it was overexposed. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's true crime case. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and turn your bell notification on all. And make sure you are also subscribed, in order to turn your bell notification on all. That way you know whenever I upload. I upload 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, generally at about 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, I have a big announcement coming. I hope you guys are excited. Thank you to everybody that keeps on watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.